Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Taavi Tammiste, and I will be hosting this wonderful panel on how AI will shape Estonia's society in the next 5 years. We're hosted by the Nordic Council of Ministers, and we thank them for having us, and hopefully it'll be a fruitful discussion. Before I get into introducing our wonderful panel here, I want to frame the discussion a little bit so that we kind of get the idea of what we're talking about and why we're talking about this topic in specific. I'm maybe not the most common moderator for a topic like this because this isn't my day job. Actually, I am an AI developer. I've been developing AI applications for 8 or 9 years. And throughout these 8 or 9 years, I've seen a lot of hype around AI. And as most of you probably have seen, the hype has never been worse, right? But we have to look into the hype a little bit. So I've seen 3 hype cycles in AI. So the first one was this classic machine learning. This was when big data, everybody was talking about big data scientists ruled the world. And this was the first time when people started talking about AI being a threat to our jobs or AI coming to take our jobs. The second thing happened around 2 to 3 years later. This is when deep learning started to become a thing. Computer vision became a reality. And AI started winning in very complex tasks like this game of Go, which is very complex for even a human, but it managed to do that. And self-driving was just 2 years away. Well, so far it's still 2 years away. But the idea here is that after these hype cycles, everything kind of fizzled down. So everybody started using the technology, but it was a gradual increase in efficiency. Now with this third AI hype cycle, where we are with large language models, ChatGPT, transformers, everything feels a little bit different. And we're seeing that life is changing as we speak. And we need to understand the technology a little bit. Now I promise I'm not going to go into deep technical on how a neural network works. But the main understanding of what we're going to talk about today is that these models were taught using our data. So if you look at all the large models today that everybody is probably using, they were taught on the entire internet. So, but the downside of this is that the way that these models learn technically is by averaging. So think of it like AI did everybody's homework at once. It didn't get the worst results, but it also couldn't get an answer that nobody else had. And this is the core problem. A little bit about use of AI today as well. We'll get into this. But just some examples. So at the company I work at, for example, the result of using AI has made huge differences. So we have connected AI to every single data point in the company. Now, the result of this is that previously when we had 1 or 2 or 3 people in the company who knew everything, who you could always turn to, now a 2-month-old intern could get the same answer because they have access to all of the data immediately. In software development, every junior developer goes like a senior developer from 2022. Now, it's not all that good, we're not going to go into that, but that's where we're headed right now. And most of you have probably seen every CV, every email is highly polished, indistinguishable from each other, and written like a newspaper novelist, essentially. And this leads to an interesting consequence. So in Harvard, they run a study for 750 business consultants. And the moment they gave them AI, the gap between the best consultants and the worst consultants went from 22% to 4%. So everybody basically landed on the same level. So the floor is rising on to the ceiling in terms of competences if people use AI. So the new average is what was considered good in the past. So it's never been easier to be good, and ironically, it's never been worth less. So the question is, where does Estonia's above average comes from when the average is 3? And now to our panelists. So starting off from my right, we have Reet Kaurit. Reet Kaurit is the co-founder of Talent Hub Recruitment and one of WISE's first recruiters. Over the past decade, she has worked with startups, fast-growing tech companies across Europe, helping them hire exceptional talent. Today, she sees firsthand how AI is changing recruitment, the future of work, and the skills that will create the next competitive advantage. Then we have Toomas Polli. Toomas is the Chief Digital Officer of Elisa Group and has served for over 13 years as board member of Elisa Estonia. He leads the strategic direction of software and AI for Elisa's home market customers in Estonia and Finland with a team of nearly 300 that he has grown significantly in recent years. He sees firsthand how AI changes what a large operator can build and how fast Estonia and Finland move together compared side to side. Next we have Kirke Maar. Kirke is head of the AI team at Eesti.ai, the national program for putting AI to work across every sector. Before that, she built and led AI Robotics Estonia, AIRE, the country's European digital innovation hub, from its creation until 2026, and was head of strategy and international cooperation at Taltech. Today, she is responsible for the program carrying Estonia's official target, growing the economy 25% in 5 years using AI. And that's definitely an interesting topic that I want to touch. And last, but definitely not least, we have Priit Salumaa. He is the CEO and co-founder and founder of Better Medicine, where a team of deep learning engineers build tools that help doctors detect and treat cancer. He co-founded the software development company Moongascade in Tartu in 2009 and still sits on its board. He's also one of the fathers of the Estonian startup ecosystem, a co-founder of Garage 48 and Latitude 59. Before we hand over to you, I have a question to the audience. Hands up if you used AI in the last week. Excellent. Hands up whose employer pays for that AI. Less. And finally, hands up who would let AI send an email to your boss which you have not read. Excellent. So everybody uses it, nobody trusts it. So for our panel, just to get going, we talked about hype. There are some ground rules. No LinkedIn stock, no marketing speech, no AI synergies. But just to get this out of the way, what is the most overhyped AI claim in your sector? And we'll start off with Reet.
Hello, everybody. So I think the main thing is that the people are afraid that they will be replaced by AI. So I would say it's the professions will be not replaced, rather the most unenjoyable things will be replaced.
Yeah, hello everybody. As I'm working with software developers, then mostly there is hype that 50% of developers is not needed. And I look this AI very opportunistic perspective. I rather have more like complex questions and things to solve for them rather than reduce them. So that's one.
From my side also that there is a myth that many people will lose their jobs quickly and we can do everything with less people. I think there's a curve that originally we need many more people, and then later we are able in 3, 5, 6, 7 years to do things more effectively and with less time, but actually we need more people at the moment.
I will take the medicine side then. So there is a hype that maybe 30% of the diagnosis is already done with AI today. I don't think it's true. And specifically in the imaging field, I see that we have vision language models coming, but they can't really deliver this kind of precise measurements and these kind of things yet, although they do pretty interesting things already today.
Okay. So very interesting. It's interesting to see that some of the hype that was 8 or 9 years ago that we're going to be replaced by AI is still getting on heavier and heavier. But let's get to the main topic at hand. So we're going to go on a journey for the next 5 years. So what's going to happen in Estonia with AI for the next 5 years? I'm going to be honest, most likely none of this will come true because we don't know what's going to happen. But we have the data we have the decisions we have. But in order to understand where we could go, let's start by looking at where we are right now. And my first question is to Kirke. So because of your working with Eesti.ai, how is Estonia's AI adoption right now? Do we have any numbers on that? How many companies are actually using it? And if we have that data, how good is it?
Yeah, before saying out the numbers, there are good lies, bad lies, and statistics. I don't believe in statistics, especially at the moment when the statistics is always too old compared to reality. But if I have to say some numbers, our statistical office measures AI adoption in Estonian companies. Last 24 to almost 2 years ago, it was 14%. I don't believe in it. I say in 1 second why. And last year 22%, while around 52% use cloud services. And actually Estonia is one of the first countries in Europe in Amazon cloud services, which is it should show good marks that we do have the good starting point to use AI more widely. But the problem is not the people, private people as citizens using AI. Statistics show that 50 to 80%, different studies, around 50-55% use AI as citizens, as people, but the problem is how quick are the companies, especially small and medium-sized companies, to adapt, because it's not about the software, it's about the processes, the habits you need to change. Companies need to do things fundamentally differently that you could rely on AI. So that's the problem, how to do that shift that we have at the moment, around 70-80% of young people using AI, around 50 to 55% of all population, but how to make that shift that we have the courage to test at working place, how to do it more efficiently.
If I can ask a question on top of that, so you say that that a lot of people are using, citizens are using, and companies are still adopting. Where do you think the drive comes right now to adopt AI? Is it citizens going to their employees and saying that we can see this makes life easier, or is it companies searching for the top line revenue?
I think we need to do both, because I worked with around 300-400 industrial companies last 5 years. It's pretty slow. There are like quick adapters, but still there is a generation shift going on in Estonian industry and so on, that we need to do both, that companies top down have the courage to change processes, change the mindsets, how we run the company. And then we can do AI, and what we do now with this very the population project we are at the moment promoting is that you have bottom-up that we have more people actually who have courage to test, but also are aware what not to do.
Okay.
That's as important. That you need to do both.
Maybe a question to Toomas there. We have 50% of citizens using AI. How does that number look within Estonia? Larger? Less?
No, I guess the number as such is, it can be larger, because of course, as long as there is still freemium model to use AI, there is the users. But there is a little bit caveat as well, I see maybe coming that, and what we have seen already in the software development, for example, when first there was just as a monthly fee, now it went to the tokens. So you need to be very, very like smart where you use or what kind of problem you give to solve in what kind of model to use it wisely. And the challenge maybe in the future can be so that if there are big players who are developing those models will find something more beneficial to solve, what will be then the price for us and how it will affect total usage of this AI in the society.
And are you pushing the use of AI inside the company? And if so, I imagine you already are, but if so, who are the first adopters?
No, yeah, of course. First of all, yes, we are breeding AI in Elisa in that sense. And especially, you can divide it into the two different viewpoints. One is that what Elisa is doing for the external clients, for our clients, and what we are doing internally. Internally, if you look this software development life cycle, I will not going very deep for that. So about half of our code is coming via AI already. Of course, again, creating of the code is just as one of the so to say stage creating a product. And what comes to the clients as well, we have used the most already, so to say, well-known cases like chatbots and etc. things. Just once more to say that in Elisa Estonia we will have about 100 client contacts per month. And it's divided with the contact center, with the customers in the sales points and chats. And everything what comes via chats, already half of that we are able to solve via AI.
Okay.
So end-to-end, meaning no interference. So, and we are continuing that journey, but on top of that comes other, of course.
Okay. So if we look at, again, I'm kind of fixating on this 50%. So if we have 50% of people, and let's say for the argument's sake that number is normal, we will have a workforce where 50% of employees know AI and 50% don't. So, Reet, is that what you see when you talk with hiring as well? And what's the situation on the workforce in terms of AI skills? Is it something that people actually advertise on their CVs or not? And are there any advantages to doing it either way?
Good question. I mean, they're both. There are employers who are looking for this AI thing, and then there are employees, the candidates, who are adding it. But to be honest, it already today it looks like somebody's just writing in a CV that it's like using MS Word or English, because it's becoming like a normal thing that it's part of every profession. It's part of your job, so you don't have to kind of put it in a CV. Separately. But what I see also, probably as I'm working mostly in tech companies, this 50% who are using AI are like almost like 99% of the people there. So it's something that it's like common sense already.
Okay. And so we've seen that, citizens are using it, companies are using it. Priit, how is AI used in healthcare today? Do you know how AI is used in a hospital, for example, today? If at all?
AI is used in hospitals, definitely. Our products are used as well in 2 hospitals in Estonia. But what I see is that it's very fragmented, and you will have like very narrow on-point solutions there, in a way that there have been stroke detection and stroke assessment solutions already 8 years ago here. Any scanner you have has some kind of a algorithm that is AI-based, either for reconstructing or smoothing certain images, or you can have in digital pathology where the counting of the cells is done with some kind of computer vision algorithm. So these kind of things are there, but they are not, how to say, AI hasn't penetrated in a way that it would be ubiquitous, so it would be everywhere. And then I guess that some of the doctors will use large language models or ChatGPT in their daily work as well without actually telling anyone about it. But today I would say that very traditional and regulated industries, and I call medicine an industry, is something where use of AI will be limited because of those regulations and traditional approach or conservative approach to what they do. And
you say that it's fragmented, so what's causing this fragmentation and what are the main barriers to entry for use it more?
Mm-hmm. The same regulatory reasons. So for example, if you want to, I will just bring an example for our kidney cancer AI that is the world first and only certified kidney cancer AI. Therefore it is a software as a medical device. So to become a medical device, you would have to run and develop it inside of a quality management system that requires its own certification. Then after that, you would in Europe need to comply with MDR, medical device regulation, which basically after being compliant with that, you will have a notified body who goes through all of this, does the audit, and then you get the CE marking. And you cannot use in diagnostics, for example, anything in clinical workflow unless it is CE marked. So if you're a medical device that influences diagnosis, you have to be certified. And this takes you, just the certification process could take you 500,000 in software case or maybe several millions. It will take you, it's said, between 18 to 24 months. So, and this all comes after or while you're developing your product in a way that it just adds a lot of additional burden on the work and timelines to actually get there. So this is, I would say this is the main thing, regulatory burden, which comes with financial burden. And then the second thing is more of, again, this kind of conservative nature. And in a way, you want to have this kind of like distrusting nature as well, because we have seen all sorts of scams and snake oil being sold, and the clinicians really want to use only the products and things and AIs as well that have been tested thoroughly and proven to be safe for patients. So that's the main thing, I would say.
I would have a follow-on question to Kirke on this one. So there's a regulatory burden to implement new healthcare things. I mean, one of the goals is to increase economy by 25%. So could one way be to ease this regulatory burden? And I fully say that by being related to software for the last 10 years, and all my locks in my house are analog, right? So what's the kind of thinking around that to make it easier?
That's a very complicated question, but maybe two things when we talk about medicine, the field of health and medicine, is that one thing we are working on is that we need to ease in the first testing period, which is not with, it's not yet clinical, but you can test with some data. We have a lot of data, health data in Estonia, but we are really bad in actually using them for the tech purposes, for research purposes. So one thing I've brought to the government now, being really close to it, is that we need to collaborate. What are the safe ways with APIs, whatever, that the data stays in the public registries, but startups can not. I don't mean the clinical test, that's very regulated, but the pre-tests that you can actually shorten the period, this 18 to 24 months, how to use the data safely, that we don't harm the privacy issues, we don't give out the data. We launched a project from 1st of July in collaboration with Tartu University called Andmering, which is that you create technological solutions that the data stays in the government, but you can quicken and give access to certain ways with APIs that you can test. And the second thing I'm a bit worried is that we don't have the validating authority in Estonia, right? We have it in Finland and Sweden, and it has been that we have more sandboxes, and we can help in this kind of legal support how to do the tests.
I will add that I'm not sure if we need a validating authority in Estonia for medical devices, because if there are, 2-3 devices a year brought out, actually 2-3 devices in a decade brought out, then you don't need to have this kind of authority. But but yes, the relaxing of regulatory requirements would help, but also this would have to happen on European level. Only on Estonian level it will not basically work. And the second thing is financing. Today, the clients of our technology are hospitals, and they're under very, every time you go to a hospital, they say, we have no money. Meaning that somebody somehow needs to finance this kind of either development is already financed with grants and so on, but also the adoption needs to be somehow financed in a better way in healthcare.
Okay, so, just a snapshot of where we are today. There are some challenges. We're adopting it. There are challenges in financing. There are challenges in probably learning how to use these things. But let's move to the future now. Let's say that everybody has access to AI within the next 5 years, and let's talk a little bit about how the workforce should be by then. So the very first question is that, let's say you're a 21-year-old today. What would you need to study that you would be relevant and have the opportunity to be above average in 2031? And I'll ask this of Reet, of course.
Yeah, as you mentioned, that everybody becoming average, and everybody has access to the knowledge now. It used to be advantage that if you have a lot of knowledge, then you can become more successful, but not anymore, because everybody has the same access. But I would say that in every field, in every profession, there are always lacking great people. And what I mean by great is that now if everybody have access to the knowledge, then how to present that knowledge, how to lead teams, because people are still led by people, not by AI. People want to talk to people about their problems, their future plans, and so on. So how to work at teams. And I guess the main thing is how to learn new things. I think this has been decades already, that things are all the time changing. And now we're talking about AI hype, but as we've been talking, it's been decades like this. Every time there is something new, and we can't predict like what will happen in 10 years from now. And definitely study something that you are curious about. And also usually, already 10 years ago, it's like the education usually brings you the first job, but the ability to learn and adapt brings you all the other next steps in your career.
But let me challenge you on this thought that we always need good people. I mean, I agree with that, but if you look across the pond in Silicon Valley, the thought is very often we need good AI instead of good people. It hasn't thankfully gone here yet. But how does one navigate that mindset that probably a lot of companies that want to grow fast will adopt?
I like to say that AI is a very good like an intern, like with the research, the analysis, and things can do things fast, but very bad CEO. So they can't kind of like prioritize like what's important for this company, for this time of the moment. Who are the people who could be responsible, who have the best skill set for it, and actually make quite difficult decisions in right moment. So AI can kind of analyze and give you some thoughts, but actually make decisions and take a responsibility. I think we're quite far from that.
Okay.
And that, for me, like that makes people on their jobs great, that they have these skills.
Okay. My next question, actually, the follow-on to that for Toomas is that what's an Elisa employee that's above average, and what can they do that the model can't? And there's an additional question on top of that, is that what type of decisions would you allow, business decisions that you would allow an AI to make in your company?
Yeah, so maybe first I will jump back as well that if you are 21 year old or you're going to study something, I guess first thing is that you don't know what you don't know, and this becomes more obvious every day because there is so much information coming in. But another thing, I guess, is that what people should go to study is rather the question is not what, but rather that they should be able to be okay in the environment which is changing, and they should be ready to adapting to the environment, and they should be ready that there is nothing that you will be carpenter for 20 years now and doing the same movement maybe for 20 years and be master. There definitely will remain that kind of professions as well, but as well majority of that one, and that comes to as well to the, if I come to the Elisa side, that if we went to this AI transformation, like yeah, it's rather more as well the cultural change for us. It's not like only, of course, there's a tool, take it into use and start to do something. There are different kind of threats, and people are afraid what will happen to me and etc. things. So you need to deal with those ones. And another thing is that how really to adopt this AI to use, or what is the best worker in the future I see is the lifelong learner, basically. And we have many examples as well that we have via this Vali IT or Choose IT. We have we have singers, we have pianists, we have whatever coming and learning and learning new profession.
But let me ping this back to Reet then. How do you put lifelong learner on a CV so that the employer will believe it?
I mean, that was a good example about musicians, and to really, like young people, like who have learned to play some instrument in some certain level or be good at some certain sports, they most likely be very successful, whatever they're going to study or do in their later lives. So sometimes this hobby place in the CV, that's the place that you can actually add those things. And this is sometimes, yes, maybe some people say it's not necessary to put there to go to apply for AI job or developer job, but that may make a difference. And that's where, like, when you have kids, then think of it like, can they, this is the way they learn to study. So, and as everybody was saying, that this is the main thing in the future, that are you able to adapt and learn new things?
So now we've been talking about what people should learn. But my next question would be to Kirke in terms of what do you think, is the Estonian school system even ready for changing the way to teach things, and if they're not, what should they do to be ready?
No, we are not ready, but Estonia is good to at least admit that we are ready, and we have this kind of initiatives that we do something differently. But of course, both the elementary, üldharidus level is not ready. It's students use it eagerly, but teachers can't cope with it. All the regulations, how we teach, it's all needs to be done very, very differently. And same with academic level is that I've been inside the university for 5 years. It's how we teach. Of course, there are some areas and professions where you need academic education always, like medicine, doctors, engineers, some fields of engineering, the bridges, the houses, mathematics, that's all important. But what I wanted to say is that the list of professions and the list of curriculums where we actually need conventional classical education is decreasing very quickly, and requirements to your mindset, how you cope with change, how is your ability to lead the teams, to talk to people, it's increasing. I had an interesting discussion with a manager of one AI center in Germany, and he said that he also runs several startups, tech companies, that in last 9 months with cloud coding, they see a trend that team leaders come more and more from social sciences, holistic people who understand ability to integrate different things. Less vertical knowledge, less academic knowledge, and more courage, communication, and that's a trend now that's increasing. So I have 2 children, and one just graduated high school, and what I say to young people, do what you love and find a way to use AI, that AI does what you don't love.
So we should really start funding social sciences more and more.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant more that classical diploma counts much, much less than it did 10, 20 years ago. And I don't really agree that the diploma gives you first job, not anymore. Young people struggle finding junior positions because of AI. They need actually universities first and vocational schools. They need drastically to change how they teach, that students who come out of university, that they already have the junior skills, project-based learning, problem-solving skills, different horizontal programs in universities, because academic skills don't give you a job so easily as it did 10 years ago.
All right.
Yeah, I will a little bit challenge about this thing that we are not ready. We are nobody's almost never ready for changes. But I think as Estonia, as a small country, we have this amazing advantage to be one of the first who are there. And the thing that we are already started and thinking of it and solving those challenges already gives a huge advantage. So back in, I don't know, starting in 2000 with DGRIP 01 and now 02, I think we've done the first steps and yeah, just didn't want to go that negative.
Yes, and what the AI Leap program does with the elementary and secondary schools is a very good initiative. But it's with a small country we can test things more easily, but we can also fail easily. But this testing part is important, and
failing part as well. Failing part as well.
Yes.
I actually have a follow-on question to both Priit and Toomas on this. Do you already look at new employees that you want to hire differently? Do you test their AI usage somehow?
That's a good question. No, I don't yet test it. So far, everybody who comes in somehow already uses it, and you can see whatever, if it's a test assignment or the first tasks at the company, everybody uses it. But I think it's because we are in a way AI development, and it would be weird to see people who don't do that. So it's definitely biased. But I wanted to add something on the teaching bit, is that there is this thing that AIs hallucinate. So basically they do predictions, and sometimes these are not correct. And our AI does also produce false positives. And this is visible everywhere, meaning that I would today teach kids this kind of a thing called critical thinking. So how to be distrusting in a constructive manner, or how to think in general. I don't think that my high school or middle school or primary school education ever taught me to think or touched upon critical thinking as a subject, because you need to be able to understand, because AI can hallucinate really convincingly, or let's put it like that, lie. So this is something which we see again in the medical device side, that you would have to make sure that there is not this kind of a, how to say, that there is not this kind of bias for the radiologist that at some point, or the doctor, that they would trust the AI too much, that they wouldn't catch something where AI makes a mistake, because that could again cost a life, for example, or have much worse health outcomes. So these are these kind of things, but I think this applies generally. We all have seen what the language models produce sometimes. This is pure lie. They want to please us sometimes.
Yeah, I think the word AI hallucinations is the best marketing trick that data science ever did for a bad model. But same question to Toomas as well.
Regarding hiring, yeah. It has been a while when I've physically hired somebody or needed to do that, but I know that my team and I would myself rather looked at does the person fit into the team as a person, in a sense of as such. The skills for me is always the second, as you mentioned as well in your intro, that how AI can really unlock your skills and quite fast, so you can learn. So as we all know, there is a saying that you hire for skill and you fire for attitude. So it is like that.
So one more question on this is that, okay, so we have an employee, and employees now use AI tools. Priit, you mentioned that you're an AI native company, right? So I have this like theory that in the future we will enter an AI class system where people with more money will have better AI than people with less money. What do you think about that?
They already do.
Well, it's still reachable, but let's say that it gets way out of hand. What do you think about open source models, and what will happen then? How important is for a country, for example, to support things like that?
This is the democracy or this kind of divide thing indeed, that I'm pro open source and pro equalizing everyone. And if you think about AI, what it does, it will equalize people, as you brought out the example yourself. So having this kind of open source things out there and releasing the model weights generally is a good thing. It will introduce parallel research and opportunities.
Why do you think most of the open source good models are coming from China then?
This is a good question. The first good open source models did not come from there, but lately it does indeed come from there. I think maybe one thing, what you do with this kind of open sourcing is that you create this kind of equal footing, and you might actually empower someone who otherwise wouldn't maybe do the research or improving the general level. But why does it come there? I don't really know.
Yeah, at least one of the, my understanding, one of the point is that they are so less regulated. So they don't need to anonymize data so much, and they are much more free. They don't have GDPRs, they don't have whatever stuff. They can work on the model so easily, and everything is, so to say, not you don't need to, there is a lot of data to work with, which is publicly available.
But why do they release that? This is a good second question.
That's because of China.
All right, so we talked about where we are today. We talked about like an individual. Let's zoom out and let's talk on a country level. So Estonia, we have excellent neighbors. We're in the Baltic region. We have the Nordics as well. Toomas, you regularly travel between Finland and Estonia. Where is Finland ahead in AI? Where is Estonia ahead in AI? And what drives both of these, do you think?
No, I guess, if I have hired now for both Estonia and Finland last year, maybe, I don't know, 50 people and 20 more to what we are looking now. There is no so much maybe skill difference. Of course, there are some more like legacy systems that you can really find there, and there is, for example, not so much Salesforce developers if you go very specific in Estonia to find. But another thing I guess is definitely different is that AI compute infrastructure what we are having. So in Finland there is AI compute infrastructure strategically in place, and there is in the pipeline a lot of the data centers there. So if I don't now recall it wrongly, there is like 8 million kilowatts of data centers in the pipelines to build in Finland. Google have put their $3.5 billion, and then there is TikTok is looking there around, and etc. things. Just to understand what this 8 gigawatt means is just basically a whole assumption of Finland electricity, what they need now as a households. So and another way, I guess this is their advantage what they have, and this is something that we should have as well. I know that we have initiatives as well to build our own like compute power here as well. And another thing definitely where Estonia is in the lead is that although they have those compute powers and stuff, but if you still look this scenery of startups or unicorn scenery, whatever scenery, then we are in the head for sure, as we know per capita or in the world or Europe, or how we count it, yes, 10 unicorns and etc. things. So the question is that they have not yet able to facilitate or attract talents, although they have the computer. And somehow we have less bureaucracy still, we are more agile, and we are able to utilize more our different services or whatnot. So they should be less bureaucratic, and we should have as well something to compute with.
But what then drives the compute there? Is it just cheap electricity prices, or?
No, electricity prices, in my understanding as well, we have heard as a private consumers that there is cheaper ones. But if you talk about as a corporate consumers, there is not. Of course, they have a little bit substituted as well those big players there now, electricity, which will be now gone. But another thing, they are thinking it as well a little bit. First of all, they are nationally putting there quite big funds yearly basis. And another thing is I really see in the future that the owning as a compute power, whatever country it is, it's a strategical thing because of our nations are aging, we know that. And rather think like that if you, with this 8 million or 8 gigabyte compute power, you're getting about 6 million, 7 million very good processors, for example. And if one thing, if you solve this people aging, is not that you are immigrating people, for example, but you're creating agents for creating your money. So, and I believe they're doing the right thing in that sense.
So if we talk about, Finland having a bunch of compute, Kirke, do we benchmark ourselves against our neighbors as well? What are they doing in the AI? Do you have any insights on that?
Well, of course, we look at it infrastructure-wise. We are really, really lagging behind. I agree. We have very, very little compute power in our, even for critical infrastructure. And we have decided to go into the Gigafactory call. It means around 20,000 GPUs in 5 years. We do invest in some infrastructure, compute power, what concerns defense purposes, and some critical data that needs to be in Estonia. But yes, it's the issue of the energy price. To be honest, of course, we use a lot of private cloud from US and from Europe, mostly Finland and Norway. So this is a critical thing. My personal opinion is that we should be more radical in investing in data centers. I'm also that I reflect my personal view at the moment, not the government's one, and also we don't have good solutions in terms of energy investments that we should consider some in long term, some alternative issues. Energy solutions, I mean. And what Finland is very good at the moment is that they invest a lot in deep tech research, quantum, AI. They have very strong collaboration between the tech investors and academia in a very, very focused fields. Quantum is one of them. And Peter Sarlin and all the investments they do with Aalto. Sweden has good capital. We can't compete with the capital they both have. But again, Estonia is very flexible. We are used to doing things quicker. We're used to doing things with less funding. But yes, if in R&D and deep tech fields, we need more flexible funding for innovation, I agree, also for medicine.
And actually the same question for talent. So, I mean, Sweden is known that, you know, they have Lovable and all these new fancy AI startups, that it's becoming the AI hub of this region. How does Estonia's talent compare to Nordics and even the Baltics?
I think Estonia is anyway a super small talent pool in that sense, and we are already competing with whole Europe, and I would say after the COVID with the whole world about talent. So in that sense, that we are very flexible and we can move things quick, it's our advantage. But again, we can't lose it, and we have to be like mindful about it. But we're competing like with the whole world today, not just with Sweden.
And so coming back to you, Toomas, I mean, Finland has all the compute. So where does Elisa pilot new things? Is it Tallinn or Helsinki? And what must change for Tallinn to win more often?
We are using as well, of course, those Google Compute, for example. We are using all those three. And we are having as well our own on-site compute as well in Estonia, what we are training our models. So in that sense, I guess in the future it will be hybrid anyway. And in the end, of course, the price and electricity and the compute power price will dictate as well where and what we use. Of course, there is all around this geopolitical dimension, as we know, how much we are having, do we get accesses as well in the future of those most advanced language models, or there will be as well some ban for some period and etc. things. But maybe one more thing I will add from a previous thought what I forgot. So one thought what struck me as well when I studied in my late years here is that you can never make a right decision. You can always make later decision right. And maybe this is something that is as well the difference between Estonia and Finland, that we are more risk taking. We are putting some things on the common sense more in place, and we just start to go. And maybe the grounding data will follow later on, and we are adjusting accordingly, or moving to change the directions. But I believe that we are moving in that sense faster.
And thank you for that perfect segue to moving on to the Estonian government and Kirke. So Eesti.ai has a challenge of growing the economy by 25% in 5 years. This probably requires taking a bunch of risks. So can you tell me how you plan on do that, and when does an average citizen notice that things are changing?
Yes, it all started as an ambition and a radical decision, and we were hired after the campaign was started. But we did with the initiative of Lukas Ilves, who took the Claude Code to how do we actually measure it. We are working on it. We have a prototype ready. Estonian Statistical Office uses algorithm or a method how they measure progress. It's called Tõetamm, Truth Oak, and we prototyped with Claude called the Mõjutamm, and we used KPIs that are statistically number-wise measured. For example, private sector productivity, expert rate, adoption of AI in healthcare, how we invest in healthcare innovation, the years lived healthy, tervelt elatud aastad.
Healthily lived years.
Yes, a set of KPIs that has numbers in terms of for the person, people, for a company, but also for state budget. And the prototype is ready. We did show it to about a bunch of 500 people. Now we hired researchers to validate it. So that means that it sort of supports the idea you need to get going based on intuition, based on ambition. Then you validate the KPIs, how you measure progress, and then you change your plan quarterly. That's how my mindset is in leading. With this prototype, we saw that if we measure the success of our projects quarterly, yearly, the 25% by 2030 is visible.
Okay.
Yes, and that then we breathed, yes, we are in the right place, we can go further. But of course, it's a mindset thing. We can't run innovation if we want to be aware of everything based on statistics. That's my mindset. It's not possible.
And what do you think is the first thing that an average citizen will notice around what Eesti.ai is doing?
For the citizens, we want to reach 100,000 people in now 16 months. It's visible with some online tools, around 60 people physically, 40,000 with online. That means that for average citizen, we want to teach two things. First, we want to teach or bring awareness of how to use AI to do your work better, quicker, and also what not to do.
Okay.
So they would slowly and step by step be able to keep their jobs, maybe to start another company, do things differently. But it's something average citizen can notice is that my life, I can still, it's a sort of project to encourage testing, encourage the mindset to do things differently. And of course, we hope that as little as possible people get affected of cut of jobs in the future.
I love that we're thinking so ambitiously. An interesting question I personally want to ask is that let's think of a company that gets the same task. Toomas, your CEO comes to you, 25% growth, 5 years with AI. What would you do?
So I guess what I have experienced now with AI is sometimes we want to lose our common sense because we think that AI is a silver bullet and solve everything. And you can, but what I would like spar with this 25% who comes with that one for me is really like the old good like is there a benefit? Is it like a positive money flow and etc. things? Are the metrics there and are they coming together? Does the finance comes together? Because that's the one thing as well what I have seen as well when we have different kind of product owners maybe are coming and saying that yes, let's do that. It's bringing us a huge amount or feature or whatever. that the basics, we cannot lose the basics there. And there is a little bit as well the FOMO of this, and as well that we are fear of missing out. Everybody's doing AI around that. Now we need to do as well something. Let's put 10 project ongoing, and then we create 10 more systems or products to maintain in the future, and they are still not in the profitable and etc. things. So I will still urge, or my sparring would be that let's discuss it through like the old school, like old way, so to say.
Reet, do you wanna?
You can ask the same question from me, and we did it with 1 year, 25% growth because of the AI for sure.
And how did you do that? Now that you said it, you can't not say how did you do that.
I mean, there are so many, as I said, like what AI does, it doesn't like replace the professions. It replaces the things that you don't like to do it. So in recruitment, there are so many things that mean things that AI can do it for you. Starting from creating the first job specs, not creating the job ads purely, but the first specs, the first pipelines, the market overviews. But I think the main thing is that we've been using for years now is tools that transcript the interviews, so we can actually concentrate the interviews. We don't need to make any notes of the interviews, so we can actually concentrate talking with the people, and this is what's been missing. This is what's been afraid that AI will replace, but no, it actually pushes us to use more. We can focus the things that we're good at, and we have got so much time back because of those things.
And what about your own employees? Are you hiring now, or did you, like, because of AI efficiency, get rid of people?
No, I would not say that we get rid of people, and that won't happen either. We get more things done, I would say. But yeah, the team hasn't, this 25% growth, even a bit more, hasn't become hiring more people or letting them go, but with the same amount of people and using AI.
Okay. Priit, so as a founder, you're building on Estonia's digital infrastructure right now, basically health data and things like that. How good do you think Estonia's state currently works as a platform to build on today? And what should it do to improve?
I think the base where we have been proud to be the most digital advanced society in the world is still there, meaning that my company's remote, started in 2020 amidst COVID, and our team is all distributed in the world, and founders as well. So all this digital infrastructure of EID and stuff, great services around that works really well. Now, when we talk about developing an AI company that requires a lot of data, then maybe in a non-regulated space we can be partly good enough. But I would still say that even in this space, because of GDPR and all these kind of regulatory burdens or limitations we have, we're still like in a fighting ring with companies from China or US, one or maybe both backs tied behind our back, and then we're boxing with our head and try to be as good. Because Toomas also mentioned the regulatory aspects of data and the use in China. They can do whatever they want, really. We can't, meaning that to build this kind of AI that detects cancer, you would have to go through ethics committee approvals to get your data. You need to anonymize or pseudonymize it, most likely anonymize it. Then there's a bunch of other layers of just developing the AI and not even bringing it to the market. Then the next layer of burdens and this kind of barriers is there. So yeah, I think, but this is not Estonia's problem. This is European Union's problem. And then maybe we can change or do something different here. If we could, then this would be awesome.
But to play devil's advocate here for a second, so China can do whatever they want with whatever data. We have pretty strong controls on what data you can use. From a data scientist point of view, don't you think that that gives us better data than they have? Because it's already filtered.
Not necessarily, not necessarily. And data you have access to versus data you don't have access to. is still better than filtered or not. So I think the innovation, there is this saying that US innovates, Europe regulates type of a statement. I don't know what China does. There was something as well with China there. China copies, no, but they don't only copy.
Yeah.
They do great stuff, especially with AI as well. So I see this also in medical field. There is a lot of coming out there that is awesome.
So we've entered kind of the medical part of the medicine part of the debate here, like naturally. So we've argued here for an hour roughly that the new average is something that we have to be better because AI basically makes everybody average, right? But if the average is good in the medical sector, that's awesome, right? Because everybody gets good healthcare. So sounds like a miracle. Is that true in the medical sector?
I think if we would have things faster in medical sector that would be average, would be awesome indeed. Again, this is not entirely possible or not possible at all because of the safety sides. How to say, certain decisions or the decisions in medicine are very often life critical. So sending an email to boss without AI review.
Well, wait, but let's try it. Who would get an AI diagnosis with no doctor involved? Well, that answers your question, I guess.
You could get one, but would you ask for a second opinion from a real doctor? I would definitely do that today as well. And then we, for example, build our stuff into medicine exactly this way. So again, all the same barriers that limit innovation in Europe limit also innovation in healthcare.
So next question, maybe if we're talking in the healthcare field, Estonia has been very innovative with data in the past. So we have e-government, we have EID. Priit mentioned a lot of them. Estonian health records have been digital for 15 years now, and a fifth of our adults give their DNA to the biobank, for example. So this is all raw material to use for AI and things like that. Finland opened its health data to researchers with one law, essentially. So what's actually standing between our data and my doctor giving me, data-specific advice right now?
Yes, that's a big problem we have in Estonia. How we allowed to use our digital and gene data is the first step where I see good progress in next 6 months is how we make the data available with certain new projects for research. That is progressing, and very quickly it's on my table also in many officials table is how to give it to startups before clinical tests. I mean to do testing with data, technology readiness levels, very low levels where you can test, prototype, and it's just to scale ideas. That should progress in 6 to 12 months. But we have in Estonia, actually, I think in many fields we have over-regulated European norms. We are very, very eager in protecting the rights of the people, and I had many discussions also with our Ministry of Social Affairs is that actually we are afraid, but I see that we have many things we can do with communication with Estonian people, explaining what we do. That is not done. That means that it's not Europe we can blame in fields. If Finland can do it, Sweden can do it, use digital data for testing, 2 things we can do. We don't, in some ways, we don't even have to change laws. We have to do things. We have to be careful of how we technically use with APIs this data. The data stays in protected systems, registries, but we give APIs to companies in a safe way. And the second is how we communicate with citizens, why we do it. It's for better good, it's for prevention, it's people understand. We are afraid of criticism and we don't do anything. Sometimes it's easy to do nothing, but it's not the solution.
Right? It's a bit of a minefield, right? Because as soon as you start talking about personal medical data especially, people get very, very with rights, right? So it makes sense that they do. So
yeah, and we did launch the project from 1st of July, which is called Andmering, which is a first pilot to test use of data in the field of cardiovascular diseases, very important field. Many people have health risks already from 40 to 50 years old. How we can build up a system that private sector can also use data, but it stays inside the registries. It's a new thing, so it's promising.
By the way, on this minefield thing and the communication, I, by the way, completely agree with this, is that we should somehow start thinking as a society and understanding about the aging and how there will be less young people who will pay for all of the healthcare, for example, for children or elderly or people who are not working anymore. And you mentioned the healthy live life here. So I don't know if you know this, but today, when we look into the proportion of the people who work today and the proportion of the people who do not work today, then there are two people who work, and they both need to carry like the costs of for one person, like healthcare, social, everything. And this is like 2 to 1. And when we look into the trends of the population pyramid, which looks like a mushroom, narrow in the bottom, should be wide, but it's narrow because the population is aging, then in 25 years the relationship will be 1-to-1, meaning that you don't have to only carry yourself, but you need to basically pay everything with your taxes for someone else maybe sitting next to you. And this comes down to this healthily live life years thing. And we as a society, already everybody feels the queues in the doctor's office. This will get so much worse. At some point you have to start paying for the appointment. You will not get free healthcare. This will get like really, really bad. And if we word it in a way that we need to work today to solve this crisis in 25 years, or actually in maybe 10 years already, because it gets gradually worse and worse and worse. In 15 years, it's the worst moment, basically, we're going to hit it there. Then people and the society will start thinking about it, and the attitude will start shifting as well towards these kind of solutions, because in the end what we need to do is that we need to prevent disease, so we are longer being able to work and live our happy life. And by the way, the healthy life years, the definition, what does it mean? It's like, when is the average life or the age where your health issues start impacting your daily activities in a negative manner, so you can't carry on with them. Working is one of them. Like doing, I don't know, going to a theater is another one, but working is one of them, meaning that the number right now for this year is at 57.3, and our average life expectancy is at 80. It's like 22 years of sick life on average. How bad is that? We have to like start paying attention to this. And with AI, we can start detecting cancers or diseases earlier, and also maybe nudging people towards healthier lifestyles.
Just to bring an example, you asked before, how does this 25% of increase in economy comes? One of the projects we started is how to reduce documentation load of doctors. It means 20 to 30% of the time of a doctor goes to documentation. So that is something that eventually you can measure in budgets, but also in healthily lived years, that you get help. And another thing I didn't mention before is prevention. It's in healthcare, it's enormous possibilities with AI that you could prevent that you get sick. And meaning with different kind of projects, it doesn't mean 1, 2, 3 years before you get sick. There are models validated in research with UK Biobank that actually cardiovascular disease at the moment, diabetes, that you actually, if you get into this prevention model, you start to get notifications from the age of 25.
Does that mean that we have to start, collecting a lot more data for every single individual and more often?
I think the research shows at the moment we should increase, for example, also the gene bank data. We had the first round with very high level number of people, but now we should. But what it means is that we should be able to link our data in our entire holistic system. At the moment, the family doctors, the special doctors, they are in silos. That means that me as a patient, I need to trust, for example, but I also need the technological access that I get those, I don't know if it's an app or it's a notice, an email, it doesn't matter, or my agent that informs me, go and do that test, but this kind of system needs investments. We have different registers for family doctors, special doctors, and whatever else, but at least family doctors and special doctors and hospitals live in silos. They
Indeed.
don't.
And also the data sets are actually separated, like for example, Digilugu and Pildibank, they're actually separated. They're not connected or linked properly.
So one more question around healthcare then. What does AI do to the healthcare workforce? Is there something that would be completely different, especially considering what Priit said, that it's going to be horrible? How does that actually affect?
I'm sorry.
Is AI going to help the medical workforce? Do you think there's automation, other things? But what do you think?
Absolutely, it will. As also you mentioned that it's like 25 to 30% already. It's just admin work that definitely should not do the doctors or somebody else either. AI takes few seconds to create those things, so they could concentrate from the things they studied for and what people actually need for. So
but if we go back to the very beginning, if you need to tell a 21-year-old what to study, doctor?
This is one thing that it's always makes sense to study, because we always need them, even with AI.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're getting to that point where we're getting closer to asking audience questions. But before that, just in closing, one concrete and checkable prediction that on the 7th of August 2031, where will Estonia be? And I'll start with Priit this time.
I will take the healthcare side, and I really like this agent idea. I just went to Lottemaa last week, and I really hope that everybody will have their own Dr. Ave in their pockets, or it's basically like this doctor in Lottemaa who is a rabbit. But I mean some kind of an agent that is like your personal health account manager or health manager, in a way that if you happen to get sick, it will basically look and make sure that you're not lost somewhere in between cracks, and what kind of tests you should have, and basically will be talking to your family doctor and maybe specialist doctors to really facilitate and make sure that you get the treatment as soon as possible, in a way that nothing is forgotten and there is someone managing this process really well. Second thing is that the same kind of a agent or AI could also be aware of your health risks and maybe nudge you towards this kind of changes in your lifestyle, and maybe the state will help here in a way that we all know about this co-payment that we as patients do. You pay €5 to the visit fee and whatnot, that maybe like living in a more healthy manner would mean that you don't have to pay this €5, that this is the co-payment of living in a healthier manner. And then also maybe something that would like win you something is that this kind of AI could also make sure that the system works for you in a way that what are the tricks to actually make queues shorter, or maybe you should go and travel there and there is a free time and keeps an eye on it. Hey, there is a skin doctor time free, and everybody knows that there is usually half a year to get this time, and it books it for you. Boom. And you're there next week. So something like this, that we would have it, or at least be on the way there, that we are thinking about these kind of things, how to make the system really efficient, and how to make this kind of like AI agents like personal ones. So it works for me. It's my Dr. Ave.
I'd love to have that.
Well, I also have a dream that in 5 years our state is able to catch the quickly running train and become an agentic state, at least in some core services critical for medicine, for administrative reasons, and that people would actually use AI and me myself to do less work and more what I love, because you have the choice to do more and more work with AI. That's risky. That companies also that you do AI and basically you mentally burn even more and more.
It's addicting.
It's addicting, yes. So that's my dream, is that I'm already testing myself also how my agent, administrative agent, helps me already, but that the state has core services predictively and proactively for citizens, that I get notices that I have 70 euros to go to the dentist because that's the annual fee the state covers, because I forget it every year. I always learn it. I get a notice. Did you all know that when your child goes to school every year, you get a support from the Tallinn city if you live in Tallinn city? But they don't advertise it because it's... I don't think they have so much budget to advertise, but these kind of things that citizens could actually benefit most and the state could learn proactively, that we can do more.
We should call it ahjualuna. It's basically, where do you get all the money, free money?
That sounds dangerous.
Your personal one.
Toomas.
Yeah, in a 5 years, I mentioned a little bit regarding this compute power. I believe that we have much more compute power physically here in as well. But in a 5 years as well, in telco sector, there will be 6G is coming there. So it is 2030 is around when we are, this GSMA will provide this standard out. That's now the target date, so to say. And what it will bring, I guess it will, if the AI use cases, some of them are, or actually now most of them are not latency like critical. You can put them to calculate, and next hours you can look the answers or whatnot. But definitely it's able to come out with the use cases which is latency required, and because all the sites will have a 6G and AI calculation capability. I'm talking about maths and stuff like that. And another thing is prediction is that as well, together with your home router, you are able to as well to get together AI calculation machine to get that as a one box, and you are able to sell your tokens there if you want to. You can go to the tokens market. And what else? Where Estonia will be in the good place, of course, but yeah, maybe that's for it.
Instead of children selling cookies, they're going to sell tokens.
Yes.
Awesome. Reet.
5 years from now, I would go to the education field. What I would like to see in 5 years is that today teachers are rather like information givers, but everybody will have like their own kind of teacher, because teachers can develop people. So giving, thanks to AI, they can present the materials easier, put them together easier. And also, main thing that kids are missing today is a personal feedback from what they've done or how they're actually doing. So this is something that AI can, I think, help a lot, and teachers can focus to individually to the kids more.
Awesome. And I'm just going to end that up by saying that where we'll be in 5 years, I think better off.
Better off.
So we're into the questions. So we're going to take some audience questions. Keep it 30 seconds. All backgrounds welcome.
Hello, I'm Margus Pala, I build AI agent. And I have a question. When will Estonian society have increased productivity 2 times compared to now? And what will happen then? Do we all get double the salary, or we need half the workforce?
We'll need half the workforce, because we will have half the workforce. When? Haha, this is a good thing. In 5 to 10 years. It's a very typical answer on or 3 to 10 years, and this is a typical answer for quantum computing capabilities.
Hi, Stian from Norway. It's very interesting to hear the discussion about data centers, because in Norway it's very controversial, but from the other direction, that people feel that we're building out far too much and it's increasing our energy prices and so on. But I would love for you to dig a little bit deeper into why is it so important where the data centers are physically, especially if one thing is if it's in the US or if it's in Europe, but let's say if the inference is in Finland or in Estonia, how much does it matter right now, and how much does it matter if geopolitics change or whatever? Like, what are the calculations there?
Actually, Estonian government has been in position that most of our compute infrastructure could come across the borders because of the energy prices. That has been the political consensus, and that is the reality at the moment. We use mostly US cloud at the moment, also Finland Lumi, and some partly Norway, and some others also. But where it is relevant for resilience, for geopolitical reasons, and for critical data reasons in some health records and so on, is that at the moment I personally think the amount's a little higher, but the official position is that we need around was it 250 very, very little GPUs for critical data, and that needs to be in Estonia. So actually the official position is that it doesn't have to be. But we have seen that in some critical moments, actually it is relevant that it is built safely in your own country, and I don't even mean US here. So, but it's a difficult question in terms of investments. If you remember the drones in Dubai, in one of the first infrastructures got hit were the data centers. So you don't actually need to build them, but you need to build them differently now. What Norway does, I think, many countries they do in a hidden and decentralized way. So yes, in Estonia we need a little bit of. I personally think it's around 4,000 GPUs. My own research shows, but not more locally in Estonia for inference reasons, for testing. For defense, for drones, for self-driving vehicles, there is this minuscule time lag that affects actually some risks. So, but not a lot.
Toomas, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's crucial still to have, because AI doesn't only automate, it just changes as well how the company operates. It will move the bottlenecks to the new, it will bring new risks. So if you build everything around AI, and it's not available, then it's a challenge. And if I look at telco perspective as well as a crucial infrastructure, and there is already now requirements for us that we need to be basically still operating when all the lines for external world is cut. And as more we are taking those into the use, for example, we have autonomous network as a target, so self-healing autonomous network, what we are doing in the network side. So it should as well operate when there is no as well connections, although we are very, very good with the connections with outer world. So, but yeah.
Thank you. Very inspiring discussion, and the topic about AI and education is something that interests me very much. I'm from the Estonian Dialogue Academy. If you're interested, tomorrow at 12 o'clock we will have a dialogue here organized by students, youngsters, about AI in their school. My connection is related to that. In preparing the dialogue and hearing stories from youngsters, one of them said, like, I see all the advantages, but when I feel that a teacher is using AI in grading me, then I'm losing the human connection. And I'm curious about your perspective, how we balance, on one hand, all the advantages that it brings us, and at the same time, still like feeling connected to other humans instead of through a filter or through a system, especially in education. But I'm curious about your ideas. Thanks.
I mean, I think those critical skills for teachers are these communication skills. And maybe because of the lots of admin work they've done today, they may be lacking those today. So that's maybe hidden there. But I personally really believe that AI can do a lots of like very time-taking work. Let's take a math example. Like there are not so much like creative things that you can do in some certain stages, right? So, and if AI grades those in 2 minutes or 2 seconds instead of 2 hours of work of the teacher later in the evening, maybe not paid that well as well, then they have now 2 hours to have the conversation with kids, and I guess this is the part that needs to develop again.
Priit.
I completely agree, and the second bit is that there was an interesting study, I think it was done in US, where it's about bedside manners of doctors. And the funny thing was that the patients needed to grade answers about certain questions given by doctors in ChatGPT, and nearly 80% of those answers which were favored were by AI. So they might even be more compassionate in some situations. So yeah, let's teach communication skills to humans.
I think we have one more question.
Hi, my name is Oliver. I'm from Salumaa. 1 year ago, there was a big scandal in Sweden. The Prime Minister publicly admitted that he used for decision-making AI. And the scandal was that we didn't vote for the AI, we vote for you to make the decisions. So I guess my question is, what extent you can outsource your decision-making to AI? What are the risks? And are there some ethical boundaries where you could never do it? I guess that's not, the Prime Minister example is the highest level, but there are many other fields where we know that people are more and more using AI to kind of count on AI's decisions over kind of your own judgment maybe, or the more you use the AI, the more biased you become your own judgment because you start to trust the AI answers. Thanks.
So it little bit comes back to how the technology works, right? So it's the same issue of learning the average. So it could possibly make a lot better decisions than an average politician, but at the same time it will never make exceptional decisions, right? Priit, you wanted to?
Yeah, life and death decisions, definitely. There should be oversight, and again, any kind of decisions you make, you have to apply also critical thinking. Or common sense and these kind of things. So these kind of things still need to be there. But otherwise depends on the importance of the decision. And using input, or if you have to make a decision in isolation, for example, having someone to actually spar thinking process together, having AI there is amazing.
Yeah, just my view on that I have as well made different kind of projects, like building something or sketching some drawings or whatnot. And to make a final decision, I'm still lacking that AI doesn't have still enough grounding. So if I will, he doesn't still have the decision that I need to make so much information that, because I have not made it that available and I don't know what is there. So I rather go with the AI with my opinion for decision and then start to spar it. Like as a sparring partner, and then maybe I will change my decision, maybe not, but yeah, at least in my personal, I rarely make any decisions based what the AI says to me. So.
Finally, Kirke.
No, I just wanted to say that how to define decision-making, liability and responsibilities always lies on the person, on the prime minister, on a doctor, you have to check what the mandate level is, and has to be safe and decide that, like, it can decide, but you are responsible as a person.
So I'm sure we could.
There's one hand more, a long time. Long time.
All right,
long time.
Let's take one more.
This guy is really persistent. Hand is up like for 5 minutes.
Thanks, man. In the entire talk and also outside, I hear that AI will bring us the utopian world. Everything sounds so positive. So you have the AI teacher, you have your AI sparring partners, your AI psychologist, everything AI. So my question is, when are we tackling the true root cause of our crisis, like the health crisis or the crisis in education you mentioned? Big corporations dictating AI policy, rising our energy bill because of AI data centers, poisoning our water, and we giving them all our data, or they steal them. And they also getting grants from our governments to do this even more. So is this a hopeful future you're all speaking of? Or is it only for a small elite group of people?
From a singularity theory, no. We might as well die out as a species as well. At some point we might not have enough oxygen or whatnot, so all kinds of futures are possible. And I think we already do that all the time. So not all the models are controlled by governments. We do see this happening, especially when somebody gets really cold feet that AI hacks into different systems. But we have open source models as well. And we as humans and people, we all have responsibility and liability. So I bet we are all thinking about this. And we as a society have this responsibility as well. So I would basically disagree with you that we are not doing, or when are we going to start doing it? We're doing it all the time. These kind of thoughts are not only yours, we all have these worries.
All right, but in the interest of time, thank you to the panel, thank you to the audience, and thank you to the Nordic Council of Ministers. Hopefully it was interesting, and yeah, to the next time.